Hi, Dad. How are you today?
Hi, Jordana. Well, another day of basketball, another night of Hallmark. It was a very exciting weekend.
It was full of a lot of fun and upset, and then we got into a fantastic Hallmark movie. What were your thoughts?
It was a tearjerker. I enjoyed last night's Hallmark.
You got the Kleenex out last night.
It was a sad but happy movie.
Yeah.
It was a story that we could all relate to. It was a story about two teachers who meet each other at school and have a common goal to provide facilities and to provide finances for their educational programs. Yeah. And today, remember, the educational programs are being cut back. And while trying to help their students by getting more finances, they fell in love.
Yeah, so this movie was called, it's the third of a four part series at Hallmark, and this one was called Hearts Around the Table.
That's
this was
Angie's Table.
Angie's Table. So Hearts Around the Table. Yes. Josh's third serving was what this one was called.
Yes.
And so this one focused, like all of them, and we've been featuring all of these. So this one was featuring around one of the foster children, and this one was focusing on Josh. So we found out a little bit about Josh's life story.
Right, and what's so wonderful about the story is that how one lady, played by Mindy Cohn as Angie, brought foster kids who didn't have a place to go, didn't have family to care for them, into her own home and raised them as brothers and sisters together.
Correct.
Yes. And what did you think about the actor and actress in this one?
So I really enjoyed the our leading lady and gentleman. So we've been seeing Jake Epstein for a while, but it was his first Hallmark movie. He got how fortunate he picked up a series, a 4-part movie contract.
But we've heard from him before.
That is true. So he has been in a multitude of other television shows.
He was in Suits.
He was in Suits
with Meghan Markle.
And he had also then been on Broadway in many shows, but he was in Carole King's Beautiful in that one. And so we didn't hear him really.
And he was in Billy Elliot.
He was in Billy Elliot.
Yes.
But we didn't really hear him sing yet, I don't think. I can't remember. I was trying to think back when I was reading about that if he sang yet in this.
Well, I think that Hallmark really cast the two leads beautifully. They look very compatible. Yeah. They look like they had a purpose and they fell in love.
So our next, his leading lady in this was played by Stephanie Bennett. And Stephanie is she's no stranger to Hallmark. She's been in several Hallmark movies before this one. So she was in, if you recall, The 9 Lives of Christmas, The Last Bridesmaid. But she's also been in a lot of other things as well. So she has certainly been also in a lot of things.
Oh, she's been in a year's worth of wonderful Hallmarks and also in other features on other streaming TV shows, yes.
So I thought they were excellent. And we also got introduced in this one to a new foster child in this one.
That's right. Angie brought another young lady into her home, and the young lady had a grandmother.
Which I thought was interesting.
But unfortunately, the grandmother had to be put into an assisted living facility and could not care for this young teenager.
Yeah, so it brought into, I think, light a different aspect of foster care that I don't know if everybody, and I didn't realize that is a possibility, that if just their guardian, their main guardian, is unable to care for them, they can go into the foster system and still, while the guardianship and everything is being changed hands, but they need more care.
That's right. In case of emergencies, surgeries, emergency appendectomies, and so on, are in educational
in
requirements.
this case was, we had to still go see the grandmother because I found out that we had the new foster child had ADHD.
Yes, which is not unusual, and ADHD is well cared for, well treated these days. And again, a Hallmark brings in things that are happening to all of us.
So relatable.
It's relatable, yes.
I love that they also brought Kiki, who was another one of the foster kids, was the one who went with her to visit the grandmother and who had experience in her character with ADHD and the testing process to make her feel comfortable. And I love that.
Well, and also that Angie, the foster mother, played by Mindy Cohen, included the grandmother of the new foster youngster into the family.
I love that.
And brought her over for meals.
We saw that for the Sunday supper, which they always do. And there was a purpose for why Angie was not able to take the new foster child, and her name is unfortunately not on my tip of my tongue today. We'll get it next week. But it was because she was on a little adventure in this one. So not only were we finding out about Josh's new love, and he was playing, with Ella. So we were learning about their new love and what they were trying to do fundraising for the track team and the band. But we also were on an adventure trying to find a perfect place for Jenna's engagement.
Yes, we learned about that 2 weeks ago when Jenna met Andrew, and he hasn't asked or proposed yet, but I thought that how Andrew included Jenna's foster mother
as her mother,
as her real mother, and in the plans and the progress of proposing.
Yeah, so we got to see that.
That brought tears also.
That was. I mean, we were going and scouting and picking out rings and everything in this episode because it looks like, and we're going to talk about it next week, we're going into Kiki's romance in the Hearts Around the Table, Kiki's fourth ingredient.
Yes, and Kiki's one of the foster youngsters that Angie brought into her home.
She's the chef, and so she owns that catering pizza truck, right?
Yeah, food truck.
A food truck. So we find out that she is going to be catering, it sounds like, Jenna's wedding, and I think there may be a romance in store for her.
Well, we know there's going to be a romance.
We saw it.
It's advertised.
It's advertised.
Yes.
And we now see that she's catering Jenna's wedding.
Well, what I find so interesting about Hallmark with this series is that it's sort of fun. Yeah. It's it has some great dialogue that's very enjoyable to watch, and it keeps us all surprised as to what's going to happen next. Our writers were very skilled in keeping our interest.
Yeah, I agree. And I really love how they're all coming together. We're finding, like this one, they talked about how all of the adult children are paired off and they looked at Kiki, except now there's one. And here we're going to get Kiki's romance next week.
And, it's like getting a puppy. How can you not like a good love story where everybody is getting engaged and are very happy? So what's on for next week with Kiki?
So she's gonna be catering and finding, it's gonna be heating up in her kitchen.
Oh, that should be very interesting. So we liked this week's Hallmark.
Absolutely.
And we liked this week's basketball. So you and I, selected the Lady Huskies of Yukon to win the complete NCAA women's basketball 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that was based on the fact that Yukon has been winning everything they've played for the last 3 months, decidedly.
Yeah.
And they beat USC, and they beat UCLA, and today, they beat the Gamecocks from the University of South Carolina decidedly.
Yeah.
Oh, it was wonderful. But remember, we have to give our hats off to the women basketball players who are wonderful, and to Dawn Staley, the longtime coach from the University of South Carolina, who is a wonderful, wonderful coach with many NCAA wins. And of course, Gino Ariami, the longtime coach of the Huskies. And Gino has 12 NCAA titles. He is wonderful. His team was wonderful.
Yeah, it was fun to watch.
And his star player, Paige Buchers, will be moving on to the big time Women's Basketball Association. But Gino's got a team yet that were so outstanding that I think he's going to win next year.
Because it's a young team, right?
Yeah, and I'm predicting next year the champion of the Women's NCAA will be UConn Huskies.
Wow, that's a big prediction, Dan. We don't even know what's going to happen.
And how were we in the men's NCAA bracket?
So I want to say, I think most people, or at least 25% of the country's brackets broke last night with Duke's defeat.
Oh,
it was heartbreaking.
Duke was ahead with 1 minute to go, decidedly, and they lost.
It was heartbreaking to watch, but we had Duke going into the finals, playing our Gators, and we have the Gators winning.
Florida Gators, we got winning.
We had them winning.
Yes.
We didn't have Houston in there with them, but it doesn't mean we can't still win.
So tomorrow night, we're going to watch the Houston basketball team. Yeah. Do you know the Houston basketball team's name?
It's called the Houston team.
It's the Houston Cougars.
The Houston Cougars, okay.
Against the Florida Gators. And we have the Gators beating whoever was going to be playing. And we have the Gators winning the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah, we did. So we're still alive. Unlike a lot of people's brackets are busted.
Busted, right. But we're right in there.
We're still there. Yeah. So we're hoping we could then have 2 winners picked.
But you know, I'm good at what I do. However, next week we'll have another Hallmark.
The last of the series of Angie's Hearts. Yes. I love how she calls them her hearts.
They are her hearts. And it's a wonderful series. Hallmark keeps us entertained. But I have one comment. Almost all of the movies we've been watching on Hallmark are filmed in Canada. And of course, we have very bad times now. The Canadians are rebelling against the United States as the rest of the world is rebelling. And how long Hallmark is going to continue filming in Canada and presenting Canadian movies to us, Canadian-made movies, I don't know. Yeah. That should be very interesting.
It's a question. I'm not sure. We have Canadian actors because I think Stephanie Bennett was a Canadian-born actress.
Well, we have American actors
and then
too.
I think Jake Epstein was American. But it's interesting, and it may just work out. Hopefully things will get better.
By the end of next week, maybe we'll all not have any money left from our 401ks, our retirement funds, the way the market is dropping. But we'll see. Anyhow, we'll have more Hallmark for you and I and Mom to enjoy.
Yeah.
And we wish everybody a wonderful week. Don't watch Wall Street tomorrow. It could be a real show. And we'll see everybody to have entertainment by Hallmark.
Everybody have a wonderful, safe week, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.